Hello, I'm Sarah Barguirdjian and welcome to this yoga class where we're going to be looking at groins back, at lengthening the hip flexors and lengthening and opening up the psoas muscles. I hope you enjoy this class. If you do, please do subscribe and remember that I can give you more support from patreon.com. All the details are below in the class description. You're going to need a block or a stack of hardback books. And I want you to begin, please, lying down on your back. So with your knees bent, keep your knees bent, lie all the way down, and draw your left knee in, and move that left knee a little bit to the left and the right a couple of times, until you kind of find that sweet spot where you can draw it down a little bit more. So wing it out a little bit to the left. You can keep your right foot on the floor here, or to make things a little more challenging, lengthen your right leg long down the mat. Separate all of your 10 toes here. So your feet have got a little zing in them. And press down, if you've got that right leg straight, press down the back of that leg really firmly. Now change sides. So release that left knee, bring your right knee in, change the interlace of your fingers. And again, a little bit of windscreen wiping here, slowly, really take your time. I find when I teach this in class, people do this very quickly. Slow down so you can become more aware of what you're doing. And then once you've found that sort of sweet spot, kind of oiled up the hip joint a little bit, then be still and draw the knee down a little bit further. And then you've got the invitation to keep your left foot on the floor or lengthen your left leg long down the mat. And again, put some zing, separate all of your 10 toes as you lie as evenly as you can on the left and the right sides of your back. Push that left foot forward if that foot is long down the mat. And breathe into the front of your pelvis. Now release that left knee, bring both of your feet to the floor and get your block. And on the lowest setting of the block, the lowest height, put the block underneath the base of your sacrum so that the tailbone is just coming off the front of it. And again, draw that left knee in, and you can stay with this or bring the right leg long again down the mat. And again, push both of your heels away from you, zing all of your 10 toes, and let the weight of this leg as it drops to the floor start to open up here, the hip flexor. Try and not let that right foot turn out to the right. Have the toes pointing straight up and the knee pointing straight up. So you get a complete lengthening in the inner groin towards the outer hip. Let's change sides. Bring your left foot to the floor. Draw your right knee in. Again, change the interlace of your fingers and lengthen slowly that left leg long. Zing the toes. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. As you push that straight left leg, and do try and straighten the leg as much as you can by squeezing around the knee joint, and turn the knee up towards the ceiling. Breathe into that hip flexor. This is such a good thing to do if you're a runner, a cyclist, if you sit in the car a lot, if you sit in a chair a lot for work or for whatever reason. Lengthening out the front body, the fronts of your legs, the hip flexors in particular, and we'll work into the psoas a bit more deeply as we go through the sequence. So release that right knee, bring the foot to the floor, the left foot to the floor so you can pick your bottom up and move the block away. Roll over onto your side. Place your hands as if you were going to come into downward facing dog with your index fingers pointing straight ahead. Tuck your toes under and come into downward facing dog. Push your hands forward, stretch back as you lengthen your spine. Let your head hang. And from here, bend your knees, look forwards and walk your feet to the top of your mat. And when you get here, bring your hands onto your hips and come up to standing. Now, as you stay here, I want you to blade your hands like this and press your fingertips into your hip flexors. Bend your knees a little bit and push your groins back. Get that feeling of digging your fingertips into your hip flexors and even move them a little bit to the left and the right, kind of like prodding in. And find one spot and push back a little bit more. Lift your chest and fold forward. And at one point, you're going to sort of jam your fingers in with your hip points. When you get to that point, take your hands away and bring your hands to the floor. And keep that feeling of pushing your groins back as you come into a forward fold. And do keep your knees bent. I don't want you to focus here on lengthening the backs of the legs so much. More of pushing your groins back and softening your hip flexors. Then come back up to standing. Bend your knees. Reach your arms out to the sides this time. Bring your arms up overhead. Grab your right wrist and lean to your left. Push your right foot down. Lengthen the entire right side of your body. Inhale, come up. Grab the left wrist. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, the right side. Press your legs towards each other. Keep gazing straight ahead. Inhale, come up. Straighten your right hand and come into chair pose. And again, soften your groins. Direct your tailbone down to the floor and sit back. Fold forwards. Keep softening the fronts of your hip flexors, your groin area. Inhale, raise your chest, look up. And then from here, pick up just your left foot. Bend the right knee a lot. Zing all of your left toes. And then straighten your left leg behind you. Stay here. Trust that the floor behind you is there as you then lean back, then touch down. Bring your back knee down. Move your hands back a little bit here and move your hips back as you press your tailbone down. Trying to lift up the two hip points here. Doing what's called a pelvic tilt going backwards, an anterior tilt. Try and keep that as you then walk your hands forward. Squeeze your bottom and try and soften and relax the front of this left hip as much as you can. Then bring your right hand inside your right foot and walk your hands straight ahead as if you were coming into downward facing dog. Flatten your hands, down facing dog with your upper body. Keep looking down at the floor. Now, you can keep your back knee down, particularly if you're already finding this enough, or as you squeeze your right buttock in, inhale and pick up your back knee. 3, and squeeze that knee strong. 2, and lighten up that left hip and that back thigh as much as you can. 1, bring the back knee down. Bring your hands either side of that right foot. Pick up your back knee and step forwards. Come up to standing again with your feet hip width apart. Bring your arms up overhead, and this time bend your elbows and catch your fingertips to the outsides of your elbow tips. Lift up your upper back and lift up with the back of your head, and as you exhale, lean to your right. Inhale, come up, firm your abdominal muscles here and go to the other side. Keep looking slightly forward and down. Inhale, come up, straighten your arms. As you exhale, come back into chair pose, soften your groins, push them back, sit a little lower. Fold forward, bring your hands to either sides of your feet. Pick up your right foot, bring the heel up, bend the left knee, squeeze the left buttock in, then straighten your right leg behind you, the toe tips pointing down. Then lean back, move backwards, and then step your foot to the back of your mat. Bring your back knee down. And again, walk your hands back and your pelvis back and press your tailbone down. Squeeze your bottom. Keeping that, move forwards again. Then bring your left hand inside your left foot and walk your hands as far as you can straight ahead. If you're on your fingertips and you're quite close, that's fine. But if you can bring your hands all the way forward, then do. Make sure your back toes are tucked under and press this left knee into your left shoulder. On your next inhalation, pick up your back knee. Again, that's an invitation. You can keep the knee on the floor if you need to. Press your tailbone down and put a slight rounding into your upper back. Draw your navel up, in towards your spine. Try and keep your breathing steady as you breathe into the front of that right hip. Then bring your back knee down, walk your hands back. Bring your left hand to the outside of your left foot and step forward again. So pick up your back knee and step forwards. Come up to standing, reach your arms out to the sides, bring your arms up overhead, and then bring your hands as if you were coming into warrior 2 with your arms. Twist to your left, Come back to center. Twist to your right. Look towards that backhand. Come back to center. Do that again. Twist to your left. Come back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. Come back to center. Turn your palms up. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead. And again, chair pose. Soften your groin, sit back. Now, bring your hands down to the floor for Uttanasana. Inhale, raise your chest for half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And walk back into downward facing dog. We're going to step forward this time instead of stepping back. And we're going to come into pigeon prep. So bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Bring your back knee down to the floor and your back toenails down. Press your knees towards each other as you walk your hands back a little bit. Now you can keep your elbows bent and your chest low, or coming into a deeper back bend, if that's okay for you, come up with your chest. And keep moving your left hip point forward, squaring the entire trunk of your body as best you can. Stay here for a couple more breaths as you push the back toenails down for stability, like an anchor. 3, and squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other on your back a little bit more. 2, and 1. Now bring your right buttock completely down to the floor as you bring your right hand out to stabilize that. Dush, all the way down. Pick up your back leg, your left leg, sweep it forwards. Now you can place your foot inside your right knee, or for Ardha Matsandrasana, step that foot to the outside of your knee. And then try and have this left buttock on the floor as much as you can, as heavily as you can. Lift your chest. Then bring your left hand around onto the floor behind you. Push it down to lift your chest up. Reach your right arm forward. And with the inner elbow, try and hook this leg around a little bit more. So now you're compressing this hip flexor. And twist to your left. Push both feet down. And try and move this back shoulder a little bit more out of the way of your peripheral vision. Move it behind you. It's like you're tucking the bottom tip of your shoulder blade into the back of your heart. I love that. From here, turn your head a little bit more. 3, I just remember hearing that the first time and thinking, oh yeah, now I get what that teacher meant. 2, and I think it was Desiree Rumba, could have been Christina Sal. 2, and 1. Turn your chest and face back to center. Release your arms. Now we're going to go back into pigeon prep. Bring your right hand down to the right. Pick up that left leg, sweep it behind you. This time, as you pick up your right buttock, tuck your back toes under. Keep your back knee down. And then again, you have that invitation to bring your hands back and possibly straighten your arms a little bit more. Just be aware of your lower back here. If it doesn't like it, then keep low. And then there's another invitation. Bring your hands flat so you've got a bit more stability. And as you inhale, pick up your back knee. Now you don't have to do that. You can keep it on the floor. But if you feel now that that hip flexor and the thigh is a little bit more ready and yielding, then do that. And keep it as light as you can. 3, maybe come onto your fingertips and come up a little bit higher into the back bend. 2, and 1. Bring your back knee down. Come into downward facing dog. Place your hands flat. Move that right leg back. Adjust your feet. Push your hands forward and notice the difference here in the energy moving around your hips, comparing the left and the right side. Okay, let's do the left side so that we equal you up. Bring your left knee behind your left wrist, back knee down. Pigeon prep, back toenails down for this first one. And again, slowly and carefully, with a lot of awareness, think about maybe increasing the back bend by lifting your chest. Keep moving the right hip point forwards towards your right hand. Squeeze your bottom, keep pressing your knees towards each other. Couple more breaths here as you soften that back groin, that right groin. Then bring your left buttock down to the floor. Sweep that right leg around. Again, Ardha Matsandrasana. The foot can be inside or to the outside of that knee. If this foot doesn't come completely flat, then bring it to the inside. Make sure that your right buttock is on the floor. If it isn't, you can also use a blanket. to sit on both sides, both buttocks. Lift your chest, pick up your right hand, and as you twist to the right, bring that hand close to you, behind you, and then move that left arm forward. Nudge the knee to the left, and move that back shoulder back. Again, think of that image of tucking the bottom tip of your shoulder blade into the back of your heart. And then lift your heart up. Turn your head a little bit more. Keep pushing your feet down, and keep a little squeeze in your knees. Could you turn a little more? Okay, let's untwist. Release your hands, turn back to center, bring your left hand to the floor, sweep your right leg all the way behind you again. And remember, this time we're tucking the toes under. Pick up the left buttock, press your knees towards each other. Try and keep that back heel really vertical. Nudge the right hip forwards, lift the trunk of your body up. Even lift up through the center of your head here, and then the back of your head. And then again, you can keep the back knee on the floor, or pick up that back knee slowly, experimentally, and keep moving the right hip point forwards. Be gentle here. I once did this too quickly and ended up pulling one of the hip flexor muscles. So take your time, and if you can squeeze the leg really straight and strong, then do. Okay, and then from here, come into downward facing dog. Place your hands, pick up the entire left leg and step back. And then put a little bend into your knees. Look forwards and walk your feet to the top of your mat. When you get here, come up to standing. Bend your knees, sweep your arms out to the sides. Bring your hands together here. Look up, reach up. Then turn your palms to the side walls, look forwards, and bring your hands down. So we're going to do one more pose here before Shavasana. We're going to repeat the lying down pose that you did with your block underneath your sacrum. But I'm going to give you the invitation to bring the block up a level, or possibly up to the third level. So, lie down with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And pick your bottom up and put it onto the second level. Now, if you know this, you've done this before, and you know that you've got a big back bendy body, and you're injury-free, you could potentially bring the block up to the highest level. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it on the second level. Draw your left knee in and lengthen your right leg long down the mat so that the heel is on the floor. So if you put it up to the high tower height and this heel is floating in space, reverse everything and bring the block down a level. And from here, just relax both feet, both legs. Come into a little bit more of a chilled out state. Just letting gravity do the work. And let this hip flexor just open slowly and soften. Don't pull the left knee in too much here, just to a point where you feel like your lower back is on the block stably. Okay, let's change sides. Release that left leg, draw the right knee in, and lengthen the left leg long. And again, relax, 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 relax. Possibly drawing that right knee down a little bit more, but again, not to the point where you feel like you've kind of ruined the equilibrium of the left and the right sides of your lower back on the block. So you feel nice and stable and evenly placed. Relax your shoulders, your arms, your jaw, your face. Then release that right leg, bring the foot to the floor, bring your left foot to the floor, pick up the block, move it away, and as you bring your bottom down, lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Then bring the backs of your hands to the floor, curl your fingers, lengthen your legs one by one down the mat. Turn your feet away from each other. Shavasana. Close your eyes. Let go here for 1 minute. Be held. Soften not just the groin area, but all around your body. you're very welcome to stay here longer. Reach over, press the pause button, come back again, and continue your Shavasana for as long as you can. Or bend your knees one leg at a time, roll over onto your right side. Pause here, rest the weight of your head in your arm. Then press down with your left hand and then your right hand to bring yourself up to sit. Find a nice, comfortable base in your seat here. Press your feet down and bring your hands into your heart. Lengthen the back of your head and slightly lower your chin. And release your hands and bring them down onto your legs. Lift your chin and open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. And do remember, if you want more support, I'm on patreon.com/Sarah B Yoga, where for a small monthly contribution to support this channel, I can give you more help with your yoga practice as well. Take care.